sit down and make money, son. So enough of meds money, dog. Come to man. Yeah.
Doing the damn thing.
Money, man.
Living the LA life.
Get the Benz truck, get the job.
American dream. Yeah, no, I'm joking about that.
Money, man, chop.
Take one.
Chop. Move from this and
You too bad. Girl, you just bad.
I come. Entertainment.
Everyone you put it on. Baby, you lit, so wavy with it. Bendy you like, so I'ma bathe you in it. Baby, and the shit. Baby, I'ma love it when you play up on it.
So today, as you can see by the title, I'm going to be talking to you guys about what it's like moving from Canada to the United States, particularly LA. As y'all know, that's where I'm at. So basically, I'm going to talk about why I moved to LA, what my other options were, school applications, what that's like, taking the GRE, how long that even takes to prepare, that kind of stuff. It's super redundant. US visa applications, that kind of stuff, and then traveling with the dog, apartment hunting from another country, and being away from home. So let's get into it. Okay, so I literally have like a whole sheet to tell you guys about because first of all, my memory's trash. So remembering all of this was a job in and of itself. And I need to like look at the lens and not at myself, which is super awkward for me. This is weird. Hopefully I get used to that, but yeah. So yeah, I decided to pursue grad school in the United States. And originally I was gonna go to Australia. That's wild when I think about it right now, because being in California, which is what, like 6-7 hours flight away from Canada, I feel like that's far enough. Like I don't know where I was going with 22 hours of flight. Yeah, no, I was really trying to be about that life, and I'm just not. Like I realized that Cali's far enough west, like it's far enough. So yeah, I was gonna go to Australia. I actually got accepted to this university called Monash University for the same program that I'm doing now, which I think it's in Melbourne. Yeah, Melbourne. And I was so down to go. Like I got accepted. That was my first acceptance actually, because I know someone else out there who's pursuing med school, and I was talking to her about it and what Australia is like, and I was actually about to go. And because of like money and stuff, I decided to defer my offer for not the first semester, but the second semester, so that I could save a little more, because I was working full time at the time. So I could save more and, you know, just be more prepared mentally, financially, all that. So deferred, and then during that period where I deferred it, I was like, okay, let me just see what my USA options are, because I have always wanted to be in the States at some point, whether that was, you know, to live, pursue school, I don't know. I just always knew that I wanted to be in the States at some point. I don't know if I'm gonna stay here forever, but I knew I wanted to be here at some point, so I wanted to look into it. And when I did, I found a good amount of schools that have the bioethics master's program. So the ones that I did apply for were like Rochester, Drew University, what else was there? I think Duke was one of them, but I didn't apply for that one. There's a whole bunch out there, but I know I wanted to be somewhere warm. I think that was like the main deciding factor for me. And what it came down to was New Jersey and LA. And obviously we know how that went. LA for the win. So I have family in New Jersey. I could have pursued that option and just went, you know, stayed with family, or even just stayed close by to family. But in all honesty, like I'm sick of the winter. I'm just sick of the minus 40 degrees Celsius. I'm sick of whatever that is in Fahrenheit. I don't even know. Like It's cold. That's all I know. Like, it's cold. And I was over it. So that's really like the true reason why I chose to come to LA instead of go to Australia versus go to New Jersey, because the warmth and California is far enough away. Like I said before, like it was the better option for me when I thought about it that way. So yeah, California. So I got accepted to my school out in LA in early May. So I actually did the GRE early April. So yeah, let's talk about the GRE. I took the test in April for the GRE, and I actually prepared for 3 months straight. So I started preparations in January. Borrowed a book from the library that was close to my house. I borrowed like 1 book or 2, and I did all the practice tests over and over and over again, literally for 3 months. Practiced writing essays, practiced answering the questions, and it was actually pretty good. Honestly, do not ask me what book that was or the title of it, the makeup. Like, don't ask me, I'm not sure. Go to Mississauga Library, and they have GRE books, they have LSAT books, they have everything that you would need for any standardized test. So yeah, go to your library. They're a good resource, and it was free with a library card. So studied for 3 months, borrowed the book from the library, and the site that I used was called ETS, and I think it's ETS, www.ets.org. If anything, I'll put it in the description below so that you guys can check it out if you really need to. And basically you just create a profile on that site. And then they tell you, how to go about booking your GRE test, whether you want to do that online or, there's apparently a paper version. I didn't do that. I did the online version at a testing center in Toronto. And they're pretty few and far between. So the only other option I think I would have used was one at Square One, but they didn't have the dates that I wanted. So ETS actually has a whole system where you can see the dates and locations of where the tests are being held, and you can pick whichever one you want to do. So I chose to do it online. I think it was like April 12th or something, in Toronto. So that's what I did. And basically how the test is set up, for the GRE, you have subject-based GRE and you have general GREs. I did the general GRE because of my program. I wasn't going into like a chemistry or mathematics or any of those STEM type programs. So I did the general test GRE, and for that it's 3 different sections. There's, got it written down, analytical writing, verbal reasoning, and quantitative reasoning. And each of those sections is about 20 questions each that you do twice, and each section is 30 minutes. So in total, the test probably takes you about 3 hours, which is a long time, but you do get a break in between. Right out. It's a pretty huge room. Not huge, but okay, it's probably small, but there's a bunch of sections, a bunch of little cubicles that you can use. So I was in one cubicle, someone else was in like the second row far down, and then someone else was in the third row far down. So they separated us pretty well. And again, it's 3 hours with 3 sections. And in the writing sections, there's 2 different kinds of writing, which is why it's important to do the practice tests, because I would not have known what the hell they were asking me had I not known beforehand that they would have asked me that. Because I think it's like writing with, honestly, I'm not even gonna try and remember right now. It's like, no, I can't remember, but it's on the ETS website. So check out that website if you do have like more detailed questions, or you can, shoot me a message and I can try and help you out. But it wasn't too bad. It covers like English and like basic math and stuff like that. It's not difficult, it's overwhelming, I would say. And I honestly think the GRE is just, it's redundant. Like, it is not necessary, and a lot of schools are phasing it out finally because they realize like it's not necessary. I literally just finished my undergrad less than a year ago, and now you need me to take another test to prove what? Okay. So yeah, like I don't like the idea of the GRE, but obviously I had to do what it do just to get where I need to get. So I did that. So how much does the GRE cost? For me, I believe I paid $225, which is pretty expensive for a test, I know. But it ranges from anywhere between like 200 to 250, 260, I think. Anywhere from that. Yeah. So for the school applications themselves, I did maybe like five or six school applications to like the schools that I was telling you about before, plus a few others. And school applications can add up in terms of cost. Like they can really add up. So I know that the most expensive one I did was probably $125, and the cheapest one I did was probably $60. And the only reason, I think Rochester waived my fee for my application, which wasn't that expensive. I think it was like $60 or something. I really don't remember the details specifically, but anywhere from $50 to $100 per application for school is what you're looking at. And then God forbid you get rejected, they don't give you your money back. So yeah. That's a cheeser. Anywho, so the school applications. Oh my God. What's I gonna say? Moving on. So yeah, I got accepted to my school in early May. And then I moved, like flew out, did all that in August. It was crunch time. It was a lot of pressure and a lot of running around, especially closer to the end. But also it was really exciting. It was really fun because like moving is always, moving can be stressful. Let me not even lie. Like moving can be stressful. And it is, especially if your family or whoever is helping you, especially if y'all butt heads, moving can be a pain in the ass. Can't even lie to you about that. But it's not bad. Like I enjoyed it because I love traveling, and like my parents were super supportive, super helpful. My brother was super supportive, super helpful. And I was just excited to start this chapter of my life, to be honest, because I had taken a year off after my undergrad, worked for that year, and then now I was going back into school, and I knew that I wanted to pursue my grad degree. So I was just excited, looking forward to that, to be honest. So yeah, let's talk about the visa. For me, my school did a really good job. They have a system that they use. Once you get accepted, they send you literally a checklist of all the things that you need to get. I'm a little parched. They send you a checklist of all the things that you need to get. And so they make it easy for you to stay on top of things and pretty much like be aware of the deadlines and how long things are gonna take to get. So in order to get a US visa, like for me, because I was coming from Canada to the United States, I skipped a lot of steps as a student, an international student, because yes, as a Canadian going to the United States, you still are considered an international student.
Even though we can literally drive across the border and say what up.
But yeah, we're still considered international students. So for the visa, the type of visa that you want to look for is F1 visa. That's the one you're applying for, and not the J1. The J1 is a completely different visitor's visa. The F1 is the one that you want to apply for, and you apply for that with the US Embassy or consulate in your city. After you get your acceptance, instructions are sent to you, and basically, well, this is how it works for my school. I can't speak for every school because I truly don't know what it's like for every single school. I really don't know. But for my school, I was in contact with a specific woman, and she sent me all the information that I would need and a link to the website for my status, which is basically the portal that international students use basically throughout the whole time that we're enrolled in school here. So the first thing that you want to do is request your I-20 from school. Your I-20 document is important. You're going to need that. And that is from school specifically. So you have to do that like first. And then you also have to pay for a SEVIS fee. So I think they actually raised the price since a year ago. It goes from anywhere between $160 to $200 US. Yes, US dollars. You want to make sure that you have an up-to-date passport that's going to be valid while you're away. Mine does not expire until like the next 7 years, because the last time I extended it, I chose the 10-year option. They're going to ask you for proof of funding before you can even leave the country. So proof of funding essentially is different depending on your program, because every program has a different fee. And they're also incorporating like miscellaneous costs like rents, groceries, cost of living, all that stuff. So they're thinking about that too. So you have to show them proof of funding before you can head out. And that's a part of you being accepted with your US visa. They also want to see proof of residency, meaning proof of residency in the States, which can be a little difficult because, again, I didn't find my apartment until later, but we'll get into that. Once you pay your SEVIS fee, you're gonna want to keep that receipt because they're gonna ask you for it again once you're traveling. Once you are traveling, they are gonna ask you for that SEVIS receipt. So honestly, anything that you do from this point on, just keep a receipt, like have a portfolio of everything that you have. I still have my portfolio in my cupboard because you just never know what you're gonna need. Like all my stuff is in one section. So just in case of anything too, you never know. Cause like just the other day we had an earthquake. We had 2 earthquakes and I swore I had to, hightail it out of here. It wasn't that bad where I am, I'm being extra, but that was my first earthquake. So I'm gonna need y'all to cut me some slack, even though it was like just a little sway, like it wasn't anything major, whatever. But I was trying to, so we're just gonna allow me. Depending on what I don't know, you might have to do a US visa interview. They may interview you. I personally did not get interviewed, but I do know that you might have to. And honestly, all this information should be available on your school site. Like if you literally go on your school website and type in US visa or whatever country you're going to, Canadian visa, UK visa, whatever, like you should be able to find this information listed somewhere. So, even if all the information I'm giving you isn't as detailed as you want it to be, there are other resources that you can use as well. Go on your school website, go on even the embassy website. They may even have information for you there too. For the school application, actually, before I forget to mention this, you're gonna need a copy of your university transcript. Or in the case where you're going for undergrad, you're gonna need a copy of your high school transcript. So that should be, self-explanatory. Like obviously you're gonna need your transcript when you're applying, but within that, they're gonna ask you for that. For my school application, I had to write a whole paper. I believe I wrote about abortion, bioethics. Obviously we had to talk about something ethical. So I spoke about abortion, pro-life and pro-choice perspectives. And I think it was a pretty bomb paper, but it took me about 3 days to write that paper. And I literally said to myself, if I write this paper and I do not get accepted into the school, I literally will be cheesed, because I'm like, before I started this program, trust and believe, like I'm a science background and writing was never my strong suit. I was more comfortable literally doing multiple choice questions in biology labs, and writing literally took me weeks. So bear that in mind too. Like start your applications early, because certain schools will ask you to do like things that you just did not expect. I honestly did not expect to be writing a whole essay. I don't remember how long the essay was. I think it was 5 pages, but 5 pages double spaced. I never expected to be writing no kind of paper for any application, to be honest. So for me, that was like a bit of a shocker. So keep that in mind. Just start your application super early. If you know that it's due in April, or it's due whenever, start it like literally a month in advance, or as early as you know that you even want to go to grad school or pursue education in general. Just start those applications super early. Be proactive, because you don't know what they're going to ask for in terms of documentation that you might have to get from a different school, or things that you might have to do that might be time consuming, like writing a paper. Like you just don't know. So starting your applications early is a huge tip. For my school interview, I had to do a Skype interview with the administrative director, I believe. Yeah, but she's my dog now. Like, I love her. Yeah, so I had to do a Skype interview, which I was so nervous for. Basically, how I prepared for that, I Googled
and YouTubed and Googled some more.
About, you know, the types of questions that they're gonna ask you, you know, what they're looking for, what type of answers they're looking for. But Google is honestly my best friend when it comes to stuff like that, like being prepared and just finding out what I need to know for a certain occasion. I use Google.
Okay, where were we?
Anyways, so I want to talk to you guys about what it's like moving with a dog. So I have a big dog. I feel like moving with small dogs might be a little easier. I don't know why, but just having a big dog is almost like having a whole human with you. Like, he's all of what, like 70 something pounds? Like, I don't even know, but he ain't small. But finding an apartment with a dog, especially like the type of dog I have, is a challenge because not everybody wants big dogs. First of all, their size. A lot of places have breed restrictions, and to travel with them, they have to be up to date with their vaccines, they have to be microchipped, and they have to be neutered or spayed. I did have to pay a separate fee, like a separate plane fare fee for him to travel, and because of his size, he goes in the oversized luggage department, like in that section, which means he travels in the cargo hold. He doesn't travel in the cabin with me at all, obviously, because again, he's like a whole human. Like, I can't do that. So yeah, he traveled under the plane, and so that was his first time traveling. He was 1 at the time, and I was a little nervous for him because I didn't know how he was gonna react. And I had to buy a travel crate, you know, a whole kit that had, you know, pee pad, food and water, little thingies, like just a whole thing that you can get at Petsmart. That's where I got mine. And I had to get him accustomed to the travel crate as opposed to his normal crate because it's different. It's a lot more covered. There's only a few holes on the top. So it's different and it's bigger than his actual other crate that he did have. So they do recommend that you literally give your dog some time, at least, you know, a couple weeks to get adjusted to the travel crate as opposed to his regular crate or her regular crate. So I did that. I gave Vinny about 4 weeks to adjust to his travel crate. And at first he was a little bummy about it. Like, he wasn't sure what was going on. But, you know, you put some treats in the back, you put their toys in there, you lure them in, and, you know, don't lock them in there, like making them feel trapped or anything. Just like let them go in and out as they please, you know, so that they're not feeling like, oh my God. But that was a big thing for Vin. And I find that traveling with WestJet is the best
option.
Why? Because they don't have as many restrictions as, say, American Airlines, Delta, like all those other airlines that you travel with. They have breed restrictions, size restrictions, all these different things. Oh, if they're over 50 pounds, like they can't travel. Like, that stuff just cheeses me because Vinny would never hurt a fly, regardless of his breed. Like, he's not a bad dog. And I think it goes a lot into the trainer, the person, the environment the dog is raised in, and all that. I could honestly do a whole different video about that stuff, but that is besides the point of this vlog, so we're not gonna rant about it. However, there are lots of breed restrictions for flights, and I find WestJet to be the most welcoming to all breeds, all sizes, that kind of stuff. So whenever I do travel with Vin, I make sure that I go with WestJet.
So I'm pissed. The video stopped without my consent. And I was talking to myself for how long, I don't know. So now I gotta think back to what I have not said, or what I did say when the video stopped recording. So annoying. What was I saying? I hate that.
It's a bully pit, and there's a lot of breed restrictions around that. So it was difficult finding somewhere, but what I did, I chose to go with the company that was being offered through school, but choose a different like location, like one of their listed locations. So that's what I did, and it proved to be pretty useful because I figured like my rationale was like, I can't be there beforehand to like see the place, you know, vet it myself, and the only option I have is to, you know, get pictures, ask my uncle to come see it, or, you know, that kind of stuff. So I asked them to send me pictures, and I found a place that took dogs, and, you know, spoke to them about that and how it was going to go, what their process was, and that worked out for me. Initially, I was going to go through school and like use their graduate student housing, but I was on the wait list because I took too long to make up my mind as to whether or not I was even going to go with their option, because it was a little expensive and I didn't want to necessarily just opt for it because it was there. I had to pay a $400 deposit, paid the deposit, did all that, ended up finding somewhere else through the same property management company, and I had to ask for my deposit back, which was a whole different ordeal. But just make sure that you're staying on top of that kind of stuff, because like no one's contacting you to give you money back. Like I realize that. So that's a whole different story, but yeah, that worked out for me. And I actually furnished my whole apartment with $1,000 on Walmart. That's what I used. So I bought everything you can think of to furnish this place, like a dresser, TV, bed head, mattress, bed frame, bed box, like futon, stools for my kitchen mats, rugs, like anything that you wanted or you would want to furnish your place is what I did for $1,000 using Walmart.com. And I just made sure that it would ship by the time I got there. So I lined up the shipping date with like my move-in date. So you have to kind of do that ahead of time, because sometimes some things will ship before or after, but you don't want anything to ship before because you're not there. So you just got to make sure that you're doing your thing like detail. Honestly, a lot of the stuff that I have found, no judgment, I found like people were gonna throw them out, like patio furniture and like shelves and a study desk, like yeah. And obviously like I cleaned the stuff and I didn't like just, you know, move it in, but like yeah, I definitely found stuff that people were gonna throw away. And just the other day there was a nice ass couch, like a nice couch that someone, like I'm talking like Ashley home furniture like type couch that someone was gonna throw away. It was like cream with embellishments and all that. I did not take the couch, no, but somebody did, because before the end of the day, like it was gone. So it's not just me. For all those who might want to judge me, don't judge me. But yeah, a lot of the stuff that I found too were, you know, for free. So yeah. Finding a place that was close to school was also something that I wanted to make sure that I was doing. I didn't want to find somewhere that was going to be too far away. Where I live now is like a 15 to 30 minute drive, depending on LA traffic, which for those of you who know, LA traffic is literally no joke. So that 15 to 30 minutes is real. Like it can be 15 minutes at night when there's no traffic, or literally 30 minutes or more, depending on the time of day. So, something's on my lip. So yeah, for me, so let's talk about packing. I had a lot of I believe I had 5 or 6 checked bags along with a carry-on bag. Like I moved my whole life out here, and Vinny's life. So I had 5 or 6 checked bags. So I think I took 2, my mom took 2, and my dad took 1 or something like that. And it was basically just the essentials. And like even then, like I could have carried more. Because, you know, females, we got a lot of clothes, shoes, and like a lot of the shoes that I wanted to carry, I couldn't, because I was gonna be overweight, or I would have to pack a whole nother bag and pay more money. And obviously I had to pay money for each checked bag. So again, that's another cost that you want to be mindful of, like costs at the airport, costs beforehand, you know, costs for your dog, costs for you, like all that stuff is just stuff you want to keep in mind. And I was packing for days, like days upon days upon days, like just days. It took me a while to finish packing because I had to make sure that I had like the seasonal clothes. Like obviously I don't need to bring my winter jacket, but I was told beforehand that like, yeah, LA gets chilly, like not Canada chilly, but like 10 degrees Celsius chilly, where you want, you know, a knit top and, you know, a scarf and that kind of stuff. So I have some of my knit stuff. I could have brought more. I will say that. Like I wish I brought, you know, like my robe and like that kind of stuff. But for what I brought out here, like I'm pretty prepared. So, and I do miss some of my shoes. I can't lie, like my shoes. But yeah, just packing it took a while. So make sure that you're doing that ahead of time to, you know, give yourself a solid like 3 weeks, I would say. For me, like I don't even think I overpacked myself with my 5 to 6 freaking checked bags, but I could have brought more. Literally, I could have brought more, but I'm good with the stuff that I have. Like it's not that bad. So yeah, again, like I traveled with my parents and that made it super easy, especially having a dog. Like I could give them the dog to hold at some point and like handle the things that I needed to handle. And, you know, being away from family, last but not least, it is difficult, honestly, sometimes, but at the same time, I'm an introvert and I love my solitude. Like I love being by myself. You can ask anybody who knows me well enough. Like I love being by myself sometimes. Like it's just after a long day coming home to just me and my dog. Even sometimes my dog is damn too much, but just coming home to like being by myself is something that I do look forward to, where it's just quiet. It's quiet if I want it to be quiet. It's loud if I want it to be loud. I can lie down in peace and not have my mom or my dad in my ear telling me about something that I need to do in the house. Like, I love just having my own space. For all those who are out there and you live with just you know what I'm talking about. Like, you know, even if you ever have lived by yourself, it is so relaxing. But yes, I do miss the company sometimes, you know, and I miss being able to just drive to a friend's house and like just hang out on a whim, and that kind of stuff. Obviously you make friends wherever you go, but you know, you have your day ones, which y'all gonna meet eventually when I go back. I should be going back in August, so stay tuned for that. So it's bittersweet, more sweet than bitter. And I enjoy the fact that I'm out in LA, like just living life. I'm a lot like my dad that way, where like I love moving around, I love seeing new places. And at the end of the day, like you can always go back home. Like that's the thing. Like I feel every young person, if you can, and it's within your means to just leave home or explore somewhere new, you should do that, because you have the opportunity to do it, and we're only young once. And you know, especially while you don't have that many responsibilities in terms of like children, or even if you do have a child, shoot, people move all the time, so do what you gotta do. I mean, Vinny is my child, so and I know it's not the same, but you know, I'm just saying. But it's good, it's fun. I hope this video really helped you guys understand, you know, what it's like to have to move from one country to another for school. I'm sure moving for work would be a completely different thing, or just moving in general would be a completely different thing. If you have any questions that maybe I forgot to mention or just didn't address, you can put them below and I'll see if I can answer them. If not, I might just point you to a website or a resource, because again, like I said, like Google is my best friend. I use Google for literally everything. Yeah, I use Google for everything. YouTube is also a good resource. So, yeah. So for anybody out there who's gonna be doing the GRE or applying for a US visa, good luck, study hard, do all that. And don't forget, obviously, that when you're booking your ticket, it's a one-way ticket. It's not a two-way ticket. I almost forgot that, believe it or not. Like I almost forgot that it was a one-way ticket that I was booking, because it's like you're selecting your dates and you're like, when's my return? Oh, I don't return. Right, so yeah, and have fun moving. I think that's the end of this vlog. Again, I hope it was helpful, and I look forward to making more vlogs. So yeah, that's the end of the video. I ain't really got nothing else to say, nothing else to address. So I guess I will see y'all later. Bye.
just bad.
I come, entertainment.
Love it when you put it on. Baby, you lit, so wavy with it. Bendy you like, so I'ma bathe you in it. Bay and the shit.